Hi everyone, Sarranuva here, and I'm back again with another video on which mats to stockpile for 8.2. Now, if you're like me, you're currently gold making and it's a little bit of a lull, you're just going through a variety of different recipes, posting the same things on the auction house and just churning through the day-to-days. It was obviously quite a relief to see that Professions were getting a bit of an overhaul in 8.2. Now, Gumdrops, the ever expanding source of knowledge that he is, has produced a fantastic video on the upcoming changes for 8.2. What I thought I'd do is take that information that he's kindly pulled together and have a little look to see what we should be stockpiling now to actually make some gold in 8.2. Now, in Gumdrop's article on Wowhead, you can see that there's a full video which I'll link in the description below. It's a fantastic piece of information, and what it allows us to do is allows us to break down each of the profession upgrades that we've got. A lot of things have been happening. Alchemy's getting a whole raft of potions, utility potions, as well as flasks, which is going to be fantastic for raiders. We're also seeing some massive changes with blacksmithing. Most importantly, like Gumdrops points out, there's going to be the inflatable mount shoes. They will fly off the shelf because everyone will want to continue walking on water, but with their own mount of choice, which is the whole reason it's being brought out. There's going to be some changes to cooking. I'm going to brush over the cooking side of things. It's nothing huge at the moment. Enchanting, though, is going to get some great improvements as well. Again, they've got their own hoof plates, which we can have on the mounts that we can actually have for the mount equipment. This one improves your speed, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. And then engineering's getting to get some great upgrades and changes as well. I'm going to skip past fishing, but the big one that we get for Inscription is some improved trinkets. Now, the mats for these, I'll go over in a second, are still slightly incorrect on the PTRs, but we'll take them with a pinch of salt, but we've got a rough idea of what they'll be. And then we've got some changes to jewel crafting with some new gems, some great changes to leatherworking, some great changes to tailoring, and then a whole list of regions that we'll need. And this is what I'm going to be focusing on today. Not necessarily the ones that are going to come in 8.2, but the ones that are actually going to arrive and that we can use already that are going to be needed in those recipes. So, without further ado, I'm just going to have a little look at the Excel document I've created. Now, what I've done is I've gone through and I've created a cross-reference list of all the rank 1 mats that we're going to need. Now, there's obviously some of the newer mats in here. But there's also some of the current mats that we need that are available in 8.1, in 8.1.5, obviously. So we've got Siren's Pollen, we've got Ankerweed, Star Moss, Rubberbud, the names that we're all used to seeing. And what I'm trying to do today is give you an idea of the kind of mats that we'll need to be stockpiling in order to make some gold when these professions come out. One thing I must say though is there's a mixture of different recipes here. There's a lot of bind on pickup recipes, and there's also a lot of bind on equip recipes as well, particularly when it comes to armor. The things such as consumables, they will just continue to churn out. So you'll see at the end of what I'm thinking everyone should possibly sort of invest in. Now, what we've got is we've got the new potions, we've got the new utility potions, and then we've got some of the flasks as well. As you can see, there's a couple of new materials out there. The Xenanthid. This is going to be the new herb of choice. Herb even. Not American. But we do have, the standard ones that we have. Now, that's all well and good, but have a little look through the rest of the professions, and you start seeing that little things start happening. Osmanite ore, again, that's the new ore, but there's still some of the regular sort of materials that we use on a day-to-day basis, and these are the ones that I want to hone on. So we've got for rank 1 mats again, we've got some regular ones that we can start seeing that we're going to have to stockpile on. But more importantly, we're having to stockpile on Expulsum if we're going to do, or if we're going to do any of the armor or any of the crafted weapons that are available. The eye level for the armor that you can trade is only going to be 370, so it's not going to fly off the shelf, but it is going to fly off in terms of newly geared alts. So we're going to see some upgrades to what we can actually do. We're going to have some great upgrades for blacksmithing, and we're going to have some great upgrades that we can have for leatherworking. So what I'm imagining is going to happen is we're going to have a big splurge when 8.2 comes out, where people are crafting their own materials and they're wanting to get their eye levels as high as possible. This is going to be a mixture of the new materials as well as the old materials that are currently available. So leatherworking does have a nice selection of 410 to 440 gear, but we've also got some 370 gear as well. Again, some nice ranged wrists and hands type armor as well. A mixture of leather armor and a mixture of mail armor. Similarly with tailoring, we've got a little bit of 410 up to 440, and again we've got the 370 full entry level. You know, you've just leveled a mage, just leveled a lock or whatever. Boom, there you go, fully kitted out to 370. And again, needs a little bit of the new materials, but we also having a little look at some of the older materials that we need. I think the one for me that is going to have a big improvement is going to be enchants. Now, these, at this moment in time, don't need any new material. These can be crafted from day one. So when you're looking at the likes of any of the ring enchants or any of the weapon enchants, you can start pumping these out from day one. These are the kind of things that I'd start looking at stockpiling for. Engineering, we've got a mixture of 415 to 445s, and then we've got two 370s. One's a one-hand crafted mace and one's a gun. And then we've got obviously the Blingtron. This is where I think a lot of people will be automatically upgrading. And again, so far, it doesn't actually use any of the new materials that's required. It uses the old materials. So again, we can get a little bit of a sort of a jump on that as well. And then got Inscription. Now I've highlighted these in yellow. These are the new trinkets, but they currently have very limited material costs, and this is because because Blizzard basically want to test these out. However, we do have some of the new contracts and some of the new Vantis runes as well. They do use the new material, the maroon ink, but they do use a little bit of the old material as well. And then lastly, we've got dual crafting. Unfortunately, none of the old gems. There's a lot of the new gems that are needed for particularly the new 440 rings. There is a 370 staff, but a lot of the gems themselves that we're going to see, they're going to be using the old materials as well. So, as we know from the Gumdrops video, there's a lot of huge improvements where it goes through a lot of the must-have material, the must-have items that are launching there. I'm not going to go into any huge sort of depth in terms of what those items actually are, but what I am going to do is I'm going to have a little look at the summary of what we should probably start investing in now. Picking these up cheap as possible, using TSM, Auctionator, whatever you use, and just keeping an eye out for anything that's low value. I've personally been doing anything that's under 75% of sort of region value, mainly because you can stockpile it and you can then just whack it on the auction house on the day of release, or create some of these items on your alts. You know, now's the time to start getting the alts geared up and ready for sort of 150 skill. But yeah, with regards to stockpiling the materials, I think what I'm purposefully going to concentrate on is probably going to be Alchemy. These are going to be a continual seller, and I'm going to continue focusing on enchanting as well. These again are going to be continual sellers. Once people have built their or crafted their 440s, their 410s, etc., there's not going to be a huge sort of churn and burn for that. But the 370s, they should be constant sellers for a good month or two, straight after the release, if not a little bit longer. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to show you the total value of what you need to start stockpiling for. So what we've got here is Expulsum. Now, this is currently available. It's used in 71 recipes, and if you were to craft a single one of each of the recipes that are available, then you're going to need 1351. Now, that's a lot of Expulsum, so again, you're going to have to go through and scrap a lot of older material. Now, I'm going to be doing a lot of enchanting, so there is going to be a little bit of a mix in terms of disenchanting items as opposed to scrapping the items as well. Probably a bracer shuffle, let's be honest with you. That's always going to be the way, particularly when you do have some tailoring bracers for item level 370, but they cost next to nothing to create. You do need some of the new material, but you can probably start churning out a lot of this and getting some of the crystals, etc., that you need once you disenchant them as well. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that. But interestingly, with regards to the current available items, we've got Storm Silver Ore, we've got Durable Flux, which you can vendor, the Insulated Wiring, which you can vendor, but then you've got Nylon Thread, which you can vendor. So I think the big ones for me currently is Storm Silver. It's used in 23 recipes. About 270 minimum is what you're going to need to craft all of those items, but by all means, you're not going to limit yourself to those 270s. I would recommend getting those as much as possible. We're also going to have the Platinum Ore. Again, used in 13 recipes, about 605 total is sort of required at the minute for creating all of those recipes. But again, that's just a limit that we're going to have. An interesting one's Calcified Bone. You can pick this up really cheap on the auction house. It's used in 12 recipes, mainly for the leatherworking. But again, you're going to need a high volume of those. And similarly with Crag Scale, you're going to need a high volume of those. They're in sort of 12 recipes as well. Tempest Hide, Mist Scale, and Bloodstained Bone. Again, leatherworking. You're going to need them for at least 11 recipes. So again, you're going to need high volumes of those if you're going to start churning those out. And then Gloom Dust, Umbra Shards, as you would expect for enchanting. They're used in 10 of these recipes, and we're looking at around about a total of 276 for that as well. Now, for me, the good thing that I'm seeing for Ultramarine ink is it's used in 9 recipes, but again, there's only 74. I have about 10,500 Ultramarine ink on one bank character alone. I just can't sell it. But if it's anything to go by, these should inflate massively for the new trinkets. So yes, it's needed for some newer items, but yeah, we should start seeing those get busted out. I was just a little bit gutted that Contracts didn't use as many Ultramarine inks. Now is the time for everyone to sort of be dumping them. If I was Blizzard, I'd be putting that in there, but unfortunately that's not the case. Veil Crystals, again, start looking at those. So yeah, you can start seeing that when it comes to sort of Inscription and it comes to enchanting in particular, you're going to need a high volume of things. However, what is understated with the approach that I've done here is when it comes to items that we are going to be needing for consumables, the ones that don't exclusively rely on current materials, but only on material as well as materials that appear in 8.2, you're going to need at least 40 for the new flasks. Again, picking up the Anchorweed really cheap is something that I would highly recommend. Then we've got the Monolite Ore. It's used a little bit, but then yeah, the standard herbs. Again, pick those up nice and cheap. If you haven't got any Ultramarine ink, you're going to need these herbs to mill down anyway to get the Ultramarine ink. But yeah, when it comes to the alchemy side of things, you can see there that the new flasks require the Anchorweed, but a mixture of everything else that we've got, you can start seeing there that, you know, it will just start sort of building up. So if you were to create a potion of agility and greater flask of endless fathoms, you're going to have riverbud. So whatever your current potion of choice is, or your flask of choice for making gold, those are going to be the ones that we would recommend. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. It's a little bit of a just off the cuff kind of video that I've created. Just pulling a little bit of data together and just trying to give everyone a bit of an idea. So I think for me, the biggest takeaway today is tailoring. Sorry, not tailoring. Biggest takeaway will be enchanting and alchemy. They'll be the constant money grabs. I reckon that they will peak very high on release, but then they will very slowly, will not even very slowly. I can imagine probably within a couple of weeks, the price will bottom out quite a bit. Then with Inscription, we're going to have a little bit of an improvement on the contracts. People are going to be wanting to get the reps up for the new flight ability. You're going to have exalted with the new reps. So again, contracts will probably sell out quite a little bit. But in terms of raiding, in terms of endgame stuff, as we've just seen from the latest World First Race, the new raid is ridiculously hard. And yeah, people will require flasks, people will require potions, so I imagine the new versions of those will require a little bit of investment. So again, alchemy and enchanting, those are going to be my two recommendations. But yeah, thanks for watching the video today. Please like, please subscribe, please hit the bell notification. I'm very active on Twitter more than anything else at the moment. So yeah, just follow me on Twitter. Again, it's @Sarranuva. But yeah, thanks for your time, and check out some of my other videos. I want to be trying to update these a little bit more often, but any questions, any comments, leave them below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for your time now. Cheers. Bye.